So before starting with Adele, I'd been in business for about 2 years and I had been doing it all solo, and I was probably really fatigued at making lots of decisions without anyone to challenge me or anyone to collaborate with. And what I was finding was I was starting processes for the first time. So everything I was doing all my own research. I was trying to solve everything. And as a result, it was just take time and energy. And what I really resolved was I wanted a thinking partner who had probably tried lots of different solutions before and had a group of people that were trying to be on a similar journey to me. So I was trying to eliminate some of the research or the starting points that I was doing and looking for probably quicker solutions to what some of my problems were. So that was the original reason why I reached out with Adele. I was looking at onboarding a onboarding process for a new client, and I was reviewing all the different product providers, and I just was starting to become quite overwhelmed. And on reflection, I'd probably been feeling that same way about making lots of different decisions over the 2 years. And what I probably realized was that I was ready now to have somebody help and support me and not to have to look at every project solo moving forward. What I was looking to get back was time and energy. I felt like I was spending lots of time on non-billable works and non-client facing activities within the business that they effectively needed to be done, but I was really burnt out. So when I reached back out with Adele, it was the beginning of January, and I'd spent the whole Christmas period quite burnt out. So what I had identified was that I was probably looking to just get time and energy back, so that the energy I was giving to the business was going into the right direction. And for me, that I wanted that to be more client facing and less testing every single solution that I was considering and starting with a blank bit of paper. I found every decision I was looking at started with a blank bit of paper, and I was probably having decision fatigue and research fatigue. Although I've been really happy to work with Adele for the reasons why I originally reached out, it's probably the community that Adele has created, where we catch up every single Monday and on a Wednesday. And what I found, it's really different than some of the professional development that we go to, where we get really inspired, we create a plan, and then we go back into the office and business takes over, and that we find that, a quarter later or 6 months later, all these really good ideas, they've gone nowhere. So probably one of the best things is that it's a plan with action, and that you're championing the action, but also that you get to be with a whole heap of community and like-minded advisors, where you're able to sort of either problem solve together, learn together, and support each other. So there's people who have just started their business and their journey, all the way through to people who've got quite significant industry experience, and no one ever judges anyone, and it's a very big collective-minded, everyone's in it together for each other's success. And what I find is that you might share one of your problems, and although Adele's there to facilitate, everyone jumps in with a solution, or have you tried this? And I think the other one is sometimes with some of the problems I was facing, I didn't even know where to start, and I still don't think I would have worked it out solo. So a lot of the solutions that we're coming up with, I think even no matter how much time I took to do it and research it, I probably wouldn't have come up with the solutions. So what I'm finding is I'm able to make meaningful decisions and changes far quicker than what I could have if I did it solo, and probably far quicker than if I just had Adele solo, because I think the benefit of Adele in the community is that you get just a large group of people together that want every person or every business to win. Results are a really interesting one, because I was really clear I wanted to clean up my back office, and we've made some really meaningful impact. So when I started with Adele, I also started with a support staff member, an offshore team member, and I did that without more or less having anything documented. So one thing we've done is we've documented a significant amount of our processes. And again, it was knowing how to start it and how to start it effectively. I've been able to streamline my onboarding process. So what we were finding is everything sat with me, and as a result, I probably wasn't giving the right information to Christine so that she could be really successful in her own task. I've also been able to focus on my niche clients. So we're now, I've updated my website, updated how I communicate, and I'm really focusing on my niche client. And I was also taught how to say no to clients. So in the past, I was taking lots of one-off work, and because I could help, even though it wasn't my ideal work to be doing. And what that then translated into is lots of transactional work, relatively good revenue, but I then have to go and find a new client to replace that. And that was sort of part of the burnout, is that I was working really hard, but you then had to continuously replace that client. So just having the support in how do you niche properly, how do you communicate that, how do you then send your energy towards the right clients and saying yes. And I think having these Monday catch-ups where you talk about your wins and your losses, you can then start reflecting on what, did I fall away from my process, or what did I do differently, so that you can continuously learn how to get better. And even little things about we created a lot of templating and how I was going to communicate to my prospect clients, and I didn't even think of different suggestions on how to practice that, because it's not very comfortable to practice with your peers. So just the different solutions Adele had, they translated into new clients quite quickly, and my value proposition has changed and evolved over really a short period of time, or over a 12-month period. And I couldn't have done it solo, because I wouldn't have given myself permission to think differently. I also attended the Scale, really fascinating actually. I also attended the Scale Squad in June, or the session, whatever it is. Sorry, Adele, I can't remember what it's called, but the session in June where we all went to Queensland, and we actively worked on our businesses in that session. And what I walked away with, I initially hesitated going, because I think, for me anyway, I was a little bit price conscious or cost conscious, where, it's going up to Queensland and getting accommodation and all the rest. And I sort of thought, am I better off just staying here? And what I even just took away from just that 3 days was I changed my pricing. I changed the way I completed my onboarding, and I learned a lot about myself after doing a mastermind. So the amount of learnings I took just from 3 days just really surprised me and excited me, because what it reminded you is investing into this sort of program, or investing into the ability to give yourself permission to learn and to be vulnerable. It's a great investment, and what you end up finding is that you both personally and as a business are always going to be better off for it, which is really cool as well. I actually didn't join the Scale Squad the first time I reached out with Adele. It was really fascinating. I reached out to her when I just started the business, and I probably didn't have my identity down pat. I was very new and raw. Raw would be a good word. So I'd been a financial advisor at a firm, but being a business owner, it was very new and raw, and I couldn't justify the price. So I actually initially said, no, can't justify this cost. And you sit there and look at the people who are in the program now, and they're really new. So they've only had their businesses for a couple of months, and they've trusted and invested. And the thing that they're going to get that I ultimately didn't get was I would have got to where I am now, but a whole heap quicker. So I would have been challenged, been held accountable, not had to learn all of those things for the first time, which took energy and time. And although I couldn't absorb the cost, or I felt I couldn't absorb the cost originally, I'm excited by seeing some of the new businesses who are joining, who are starting from scratch, because they get to do all the stuff we're doing now, but without having to fall over so many times as we learn. So I actually almost didn't join, and when I actually reconnected with Adele the second time, I was at that stage where her communications about, you know, all the things that she did and what was what the Scale Squad as a group provided, the community aspect. I got to that first phone call, I was like, I just take my money, like, please, everything you're selling, I want it. I want it all, and I want it. And she made me wait for the second meeting to actually sign up. But what I found was I got to the point, and I might do this occasionally with a lot of business decisions, I got to the point of desperation where I was burnt out and I was desperate for her, opposed to maybe if I had said yes the first time, I was pretty unsure, but I would have set things up very differently in hindsight. But as a result of even joining the Scale Squad, the other thing I'm doing now is, instead of making decisions when I need that resource or when I need that change immediately, I'm instead of going, okay, well, at what stage does that, whether it is outsourcing or bringing on another staff member, what does it need to look like for that to occur? And therefore now all of a sudden I'm thinking about it, where in the past it got to the point where I was probably 6 months past probably needing that resource or that making that decision, that outsourcing aspect. By the time I made it was almost like too late. But that's another benefit I've found. Favorite part of the Scale Squad, probably the community. I think the community, I'm mid-30s, a solo business owner, and I just wanted a whole heap of group of people that were like me, that wanted to run a financial advice business in a certain way, and that I wasn't necessarily getting the community connection in my licensee. So I wanted to spend more time with like-minded advisors and find out what is everyone up to, what is everyone doing, what are the tech solutions, what's available, because it's not information I'm getting anywhere else. So the community that Adele has created has been awesome. And even just even for example, some of the software solutions that we use, such as Claris, she has such great connections with those who are developing it that we're able to provide almost direct feedback, where Adele can then help create changes, which then helps us in return. So the community aspect is definitely one of the highlights. And who would you recommend it to, or who I would recommend it to, is any small business, solo business owner who wants to progressively improve their business. So whether that's tech solutions, understanding what else is available, and wanting to continuously enhance the client experience, it would be appropriate for all of you. It's been the best investment I've made all year, and that's saying something because I got my first staff member, and I can't believe it's been almost 12 months. Well, I feel like it's been so long. Adele has just transformed my business and really helped me probably move back from doing so much of the day-to-day admin and trying to push me back towards the client-facing role, which is where I enjoy far more of my time, but also where it's a more profitable use of my time as well. So it's been quite a great 12 months, and I can't imagine doing business without Adele. So thank you, Adele. Bye.